Hi everyone, today I'll be recording Code Forces Div 3 round 697. The contest begins in 20 seconds, and I think for the first time ever in the history of Code Forces that we have a 3000 registration for a contest. So hopefully everything works fine, and let's see how the contest goes. Okay. See how many questions there are. So we have 7 questions. The first problem. You're given an integer n, check if n has an odd divisor greater than 1. That n is divisible by. Okay, so do we need to check? So basically I think we can continuously divide the integer by 2, and if the remaining integer is greater than 1, then we have an answer. So basically keep on remove all of the even divisors of n, and if n is greater than 1, then see out yes, else see out no. No, yes, no, yes, yes, no. Okay. Problem B. Polycarp remembered the 2020th year as the and he is happy with the arrival of the new 2021 year. To remember such a wonderful moment, Polycarp wants to represent the number n as a sum of a certain number of 2020 and a certain number of 2021s. Okay. Okay, we just want to find whether or not it is possible to represent n as a sum of some 2020 and some 2021 combination. So I think this we can brute force this initially. Like basically we can find all of the integers that can be represented as a sum of 2020 and 2021 because n is only up to 1 is 6. So I'll pre-compute before taking the input. So let's say I start from so I have I into 2020 is less than equal to 1 is 6. Then for in j equal to 0, I into 2020 plus j into 2021 should be less than equal to 1 is 6. J plus plus. I'll store all of the numbers that can be represented in a set. So I have I in 2020 plus j into 2021. And then for every number in the input, I just need to check whether or not it is present in this set. So if s dot find n is not equal to s dot n, then see out yes, else see out no. No, yes, 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 no. That works. So problem C. At the school where Vasya is studying, preparations are underway for the graduation ceremony. One of the planned performances is a ball, which will be attended by pairs of boys and girls. Each class must present two couples to the ball. In Vasya's class, A boys and B girls wish to participate, but not all boys and not all girls are ready to dance in pairs. Formally, you know K possible one by one girl pairs, and you need to choose two of these pairs so that no person is in more than one pair. Find the number of ways to select two pairs that match all of the conditions above. Okay. So basically we have a graph of n people, or rather a plus b people, where we have a nodes on the left hand side, a bipartite graph where we have a boys on the left hand side, b girls on the right hand side, and we have some edges connecting them. And we can only pair those people who have an edge between them, and we want to find what is the number of ways of selecting two people from like two pairs, two couples in this graph. Okay, so first I'll take the input and then I'll try to think about the problem completely. I think even this can be brute forced somehow, but I'll think about it. So we have n is 25 plus 5. I'll take it 45. Yeah. So if int a b k and then vector int, or rather I'll take a set. So I have set int graph of n, in b k, int n is equal to a plus b, total number of nodes. I'll remove all their edges, and then I have k integers in the input. So in u of n to v of n, there is an edge seen in u of I, seen in v of I. So what I'm thinking is I'll iterate over the edges one by one, and when I iterate over some edge ui to vi, basically I need to remove all of the edges, like all of the edges that start from u on the left hand side or that end in v in the right hand side, and I can take all of the remaining edges, right? So yeah, let me make a graph out of this input. So I have g of u of I dot insert v of I plus a, and similarly g of v of I dot insert u of I plus, or rather u of I. Okay, I don't need to do this, I think, because yes, I can subtract the sizes of directly. So basically I have I think this should work basically. Int answer equal to 0, for int I equal to 1, I less than equal to ki plus plus. If I'm taking this edge, which is u of I to v of I, then the remaining edges are k minus 1 minus k minus 1 are the remaining edges, and out of those I want to also subtract g of l dot size, I want to subtract g of r dot size, and I want to add 2 because I subtracted this edge twice, except like I already removed this edge, right? So answer plus equal to remaining, and then cout answer end l. So I don't even need a set if this works. Okay, no, it does not seem to be working. Okay, so basically selecting 1 1 and 2 2, I'm counting it twice. Okay, okay, and moreover, among the remaining edges, why am I getting 11 for the first test case? Okay, R is V of I plus A, sorry, that does not help. Okay, what's going on in the standings? People have solved C. Okay, yeah, so I'm getting 804, so I just need to divide the answer by 2. It is correct. Because I'm counting each pair twice. Yeah, that works. So let me just check that I'm erasing all of the global things, right? Yeah. I think there's some queue. So problem D. Polycarp often uses his smartphone. He has already installed n applications on it. Application with number I takes up AI units of memory. Polycarp wants to free at least m units of memory by removing some applications. Of course, some applications are more important to Polycarp than others. He came up with the following scoring system. He assigned an integer bi to each application. 1 is a regular application and 2 is an important application. According to this rating system, his phone has b1 plus b2 dot 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 bn convenience points. Polycarp believes that if he removes applications with numbers I1 to ik, then he will free AI1 till AIK units of memory and lose BI1 till BIK convenience points. Okay. So help Polycarp choose a set of applications is that if removing them will free at least m units of memory and lose the minimum number of convenience points, or indicate that such a set does not exist. Okay, so again this is kind of an implementation problem direct, because I can make a vector for bi equal to 1, I can make a vector for bi equal to 2, and I can sort both of them independently. And among those, I will obviously always try to free the one with the highest AI. So let's see. I have 2e5 plus 5 int nm vector int g of 2, or rather 5. I have cnn nm int a of n b of n. We only need to have the answer. Cool. So I have n integers AIs, and I have similarly all of the BI values. G of 1 dot clear, G of 2 dot clear, over here I have G of B of I dot pushback, A of I. I want to sort G of 1 in the reverse order. So I have this, and the same thing for G of 2. And now I can iterate. So for int I equal to 0, I is less than G of 1 dot size I plus plus. So I'll be taking I plus 1 elements from, or rather I'll be taking I elements from G of 1. So if I is 0, and let me take the I equal to 0 case separately. So if G of 2 dot size is minimum number of convenience points, okay, so I also want to find the prefix sums in both of them. So let me iterate through both of them, and j in G of I in sum is equal to 0, sum plus equal to j, and I will replace it by the prefix sum. So j is equal to sum. Yeah, that should work. And now if G of 2 dot size is greater than equal to m, then I can remove all of the elements from G of 2 itself. So in this case, if G of 2 of m minus 1 is greater than, okay, rather I cannot fix the number of elements. Okay. People have solved E much faster than D, so let me read E. Masha works in an advertising agency. In order to promote the new brand, she wants to conclude contracts with some bloggers. In total, Masha has a total connection of n different bloggers. Blogger number I has AI followers. Since Masha has a limited budget, she can only sign a contract with k different bloggers. Okay, of course, Masha wants her ad to be seen by as many people as possible. Therefore, she must hire bloggers with the maximum total number of followers. Help her find the number of ways to select k bloggers so that the total number of followers is maximum possible. Two ways are considered different if there is at least one blogger in the first way which is not in the second way. Okay, so basically we have to take the largest values, right? How many of them you want to sign a contract with? Okay. Masha has two ways to select 3 bloggers with a maximum total. She can 1, 2 or 4, 2, 3 or 4. A1 plus A2 plus A4 is 6. a2 plus a3 plus a4 is also 6. Okay, yeah, that is pretty obvious. So why is n only up to 1000? I think this can be solved for a larger n value also. But let's solve this quickly. Int n comma k int a of n. So here I have seen in nk for int I equal to 1, I less than equal to n I plus plus. Okay, there are test cases. Yeah, so let's sort the array and let's start from the back. So int j equal to I while j minus 1 is greater than equal to 1 and then a of j minus 1 is equal to a of I. I can keep on taking this value. If k is greater than equal to I minus j plus 1, then k minus equal to I minus j plus 1. Over here I equal to j. Else I just want the factorial, so okay, let's pre-compute this. Else my answer is answer equal to 1, answer is equal to, over here if k is equal to 0, then I can break out of the loop, and after doing this k will become equal to 0. Otherwise answer is equal to NCR of I minus j plus 1 choose k. Yeah, that should work. I'll explain all of my solutions briefly after I finish the contest, assuming I'm able to finish it in time. Okay, so I have mod constant mod is equal to 1e9 plus 7. Two, 6, 1, that works. So my solution is O of n log n. So we can solve it for larger values of n also. Let me submit this quickly. What? I think that's some CF issue. Okay, it's submitted. I think I should have jumped to E before solving D. But yeah, so for problem D, we want to free at least m units of memory. So in this case, I think what we can do is I will either take 2 units of like 1, or I will take a single unit of 2. And while doing this, assuming that taking 2 units of 1 is more profitable, I'll take those 2 units of 2 or not. I'm a bit confused, but I think that some like that type of two pointer approach should work. I'm just not very sure, so let me try. I'll also store what is the sum of the bi values. So have sum plus equal to b of I. I want to calculate what is the minimum number of b of I values that I will have to lose. Okay. So what I want to do is int L equal to 0, R equal to 0. Yeah, let me basically iterate over the first one. So let me, I'll take I elements from the from G of 1. So int lose is equal to I into 1, and then I think I can have a 2-pointer approach over the second one. As I take more elements from 1, I'll always be reducing the number of elements I take from 2, right? So index is equal to g of 2 dot size minus 1 int. Yeah, so while index minus 1 is greater than equal to 0, and then g of 2 and index minus 1. Current sum is equal to 0. If I is greater than equal to 1, current sum plus equal to g of 1 I minus 1. Okay, so as long as this sum value is greater than equal to m, I can reduce the index. And if g of 2 index plus current sum is greater than equal to m, then the answer is equal to 0. I'll first also calculate the total sum. Okay, so total sum equal to 0. Total sum plus equal to a of I. If total sum is less than m, then it's obviously not possible. So my print minus 1. And I also want to lose the minimum number of convenience points. Okay, so I have answer equal to 0. I have answer is equal to max of answer comma sum minus lose. Okay, so int lose is equal to g of 2 dot size into 2. Right. Okay, so current sum will be current sum equal to 0. So I have, if I is greater than equal to 1, then I'm losing some points, and over here I'm gaining 2 points. So if g of 2 idx plus current sum is greater than equal to m, then answer is equal to sum minus lose. If g of 1 I okay, so basically I should not take prefix sums, I think. Yeah. Rather, I want to take the prefix sum only in g of 2, not in g of 1. Okay, I can let this be. So basically current sum will be equal to this value, lose plus plus, lose minus equal to 2 and index minus minus. If g of 1 I is greater than equal to m, then answer is equal to max of answer comma sum minus I. And I can print the answer. Six minus 1, 1, 2, 4. 6. Okay, that's wrong. It is optimal to remove applications with numbers 2 and 5, freeing 7 units of memory. The minimum number of convenience points that Polycarp will lose if such a set exists. Okay, so basically I want to print sum minus answer. I'm getting 1 minus 1, 6, 4, 2. How am I getting? I want to free 7 units of memory, so how can I get it in? Okay, that's something wrong obviously. Okay, so this is basically g of 1 and I minus 1. What? Is basically current sum plus equal to this is correct. So current sum is 0. Every time I increment I have this value. So what is print the values I idx current sum and g of 2 idx. for the first test case. Yeah, for 0, index is 1. So this is not satisfied, obviously. For the first index, when I is 1, I'll be removing 4, and over here I'll be removing 5, right? So 5 and 1, I can, yes, this value should be satisfied. Okay, what is happening? Wait, what is, okay, sum is the value. I need to print the value of shoes. If I is greater than or equal to 1 and then this, right, yeah. 2 minus 1, 6, 4, 3. That's correct. So I'll submit this. I have cleared the global array. What? There's a 10 plus minute queue. But okay, let's see what is problem F and G. Even F was solved pretty quickly by geothermal and tourist at least. And G has a lot more solves. Okay, so F is a matrix question. You're given two binary squared matrices A and B of size n cross n. A matrix is called binary if each of its element is equal to 0 or 1. You can do the following operations on the matrix A arbitrary number of times, 0 or more. Vertical XOR, you can choose the number j, and for all I, do the following. Aij is equal to Aij XOR 1. Choose some number I, and for all j, do the following this. So basically I can XOR every row by 1 or every column by 1. So vertical XOR with j1 is flipping all the bits along this column, all the bits along the second row, and all the bits along the second column. Check if there exists some sequence of operations such that matrix A becomes equal to matrix B, and we only want to print yes or no. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so obviously I'll try to go like from top left. 1 second. I think this can be formulated as a 2-sat. Like I think I'm overcomplicating the solution, but I think like this can be solved as a 2-sat solution. So basically I have n rows, I have n columns, and every bit will basically tell me that if ith row is not flipped, then jth row should also not be flipped, and so on, right? Yeah, so using 2-sat it is very easy to solve. So I'll just copy paste my template. So that is over here. Yeah, so I have some input. And n is up to 1000, and I don't want long. I mean, I don't need long for this question. So the maximum number of vertices will be 2005. I can create that for every test case, that is fine. So I have an n cross n matrix. char a of nn b of nn, and int, what happened is the context generated. Okay, no announcement as of now. Fine, so I have int n. Let me take the input completely. Yeah, so over here what I'm saying is, let me see how I've used the TOSAT in my other problems. Yeah, that should be fine, I guess. So just to make sure that this does not fail. Yeah. So let me just add this. I have some function in add edge, unchanged change. So if c is 0, then this, okay, I'll flip this. So basically, if some bit is changing, then if the row is not flipped, then the column needs to be flipped, and vice versa. And if the reverse holds if aij is equal to bij, right? So yeah, so if a of ij is equal to b of ij, then what I want to do is I want to add edge between I and j plus n with not flipped. Otherwise, I want to add edge between I and j plus n with the bits being flipped. And yeah, so I have TOSAT of TOSAT. Okay. TOSAT and TOSAT. Okay. Yeah, so add edge in this TOSAT and just check if solution exists or not. So if TOSAT dot solve of some answer is answer initialized. Yeah. Then cout yes, else cout no. My program is giving yes, 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 which is obviously wrong. So for the last test case, the answer should have been no. We see. From I to j plus n, 0, which means that if this row is not flipped, then even the column is not flipped, and so on, right? Yeah. So only for 2, 1 the value is same. All of the other values are flipped. Okay. So obviously for all of the other cases I've called this. unchanged. Okay. Let me see what answer did I get. So for auto and IT in 2sat dot in answer, sorry, here IT. What? Did it even reach here? Here high. It did. Okay. Okay, I need to init it. Okay, shit. Sorry, my bad. 2sat dot init 2 into n. Yeah, I'm getting no now. That's fine. Yes, yes, no. Okay. I think this should work, so I'll submit it. Okay, we have a 20-minute queue. And the last problem. Time limit is 5 seconds. Strange beauty. Polycarp found on the street an array A of n elements. Polycarp invented his criterion for the beauty of an array. He calls an array A beautiful if at least one of the following conditions must be met for each pair of different pair of indices I not equal to j. AI is divisible by AJ or AJ is divisible by AI. Okay, basically for all of the pairs of elements in the array, at least one should be divisible by the other. So he wants to remove some elements from the array A so that it becomes beautiful. Help Polycarp determine the smallest number of elements to remove to make the array A beautiful. Okay, so basically, obviously the order of the elements do not matter, so I can sort the array first of all. And now I want to check for the, let's consider the largest element. If it has some element that divides it, or rather, if all of the elements in the array that are remaining divide it, then this element is good. Otherwise, I need to remove this element, right? And the values can be repeated, okay. Okay, let me take the input and I'll try to think about it from scratch. And after solving this problem, I can start explaining my solutions. But I'm actually concerned about this question because there's no way to even check if it's right or not, because it's there's a 20+ minute queue. Okay, but let's see. So I have the input array. I can obviously sort the whole array. And I can also pre-compute all of the divisors for each number from 1 to 2e5 by using a pre-computed sieve. So that is not an issue. Now what I'm thinking is, basically if there are two numbers, AI and AJ in the array, such that AI does not divide AJ, then either all of the occurrences of AI should be deleted or all of the occurrences of AJ must be deleted, right? Okay. Okay, people solved it in 3 minutes. Nice. So many submissions in queue. Yeah, so minimum number of elements that must be removed. If we remove 7 and 14, then we'll be left with 3, 9 and 63. Okay. So what I think is, no, 1 second. Yeah, definitely. So basically, the smallest element must divide all of the larger elements in the array. Like that is the minimum condition that is required. But let us consider three distinct elements I, j and k. If I divides j, like if ai is less than aj is less than ak, then it is necessary that ai divides aj and that aj divides ak. Right, so basically every time we'll be at least multiplying the integer by 2, so we can have at most log n distinct elements in our final array. That is something that is necessary. Okay. So can we have a dp? Like basically I have dp of value and I just remove one of the prime divisors from myself, right? And I go over all of the possibilities. Yes, I think that should work. So basically I have the input array, I have the frequency, we have some test cases, right? So okay, so let me set the frequencies to 0 and I have f of a of I plus plus. I'll pre-compute all of the prime numbers. So vector in primes of n void pre-compute point I less than, okay, if primes of I dot size is 0, then for all of the multiples I have this number as a prime. Yeah, so I have pre-computed this. So removing minimum number of elements is as good as having the maximum number of elements remaining in the array, right? So I have int dp of int value over here. If yeah, so let me have some cache also. Int cache of n size, n should be up to 2e5, yes, and insert cache to -1. Yeah, so int an answer is equal to cache of value. If answer is not -1, I have the answer. Otherwise, answer is equal to frequency of value. I can have at least these many remaining, right? And I can iterate over the divisors of val. So answer is equal to max of answer comma f of value plus dp of value by it, and then I get an answer. That should work. So int answer equal to 0 for int I equal to 1, I less than equal to 2e5 I plus plus, answer is equal to max of answer comma dp of I. Cout answer and n. Cout n minus answer, sorry, because I want to find the minimum number of elements removed. So I'm getting 2010, which is correct. I don't know why the memory limit is like the time limit is 5 seconds, and I don't think I require long anyway, so I'll remove it just to reduce the time limit and the memory consumption of my program. I think that should work. Okay, my E got AC, and I think I've solved all the problems, so I'll try to explain all of my solutions starting from problem A. Assuming something fails when I'm explaining, I'll try to correct that problem. I'll keep checking the status page. So the problem A. Yeah, so problem A was that we are given an integer n and we want to check if n has any odd divisor that is greater than 1. So for this, what we can do is we can remove all of the divisors of all of the even divisors of n, right? So basically I divided in n by 2, I kept dividing it by 2, and if the remaining integer was greater than 1, then that is the number that we're looking for. Like basically I found the largest odd divisor of n. So I take the input n, I keep dividing it by 2, the remaining integer n will be the largest odd divisor of the original input n, and if this is greater than 1, then I print yes, otherwise the answer is no. For problem B, so problem B was a straightforward implementation question because we were asked to check if I can represent n as a sum of some number of 2020 and some number of 2021s. It can be solved in log n complexity using extended Euclidean algorithm, but obviously this was not required because this was a diff3b problem. So we can directly brute force. So basically because we have these numbers are very big, right? So I can have at most, I guess what, if I have 100 of this number, if I have 1000 of 2020s, right, I will end up exceeding 2e6. So I can have at most 1000 of these, I can have at most 1000 of these. So if I consider all of the possibilities, so basically I have fixed that I have I number of 2020s and j number of 2021s. So that the complexity of that would be 1000 into 1000, which is 1e6. So I've stored all of those integers in a set. So I start from int I equal to 0, I into 2020 should be less than equal to 1e6 obviously, and then I iterate over the j values, and the total sum should be less than equal to 1e6. So for all of such integers, I inserted them into a set, and then for every input I just checked whether this integer exists in the set or not. If it exists in the set, then it is representable as a sum of some number of 2020s and some number of 2021s. Then we have problem C. So problem C was basically that we have A boys on left hand side. If you imagine it as a class or like a graph problem, then we have a bipartite graph where we have A boys on the left hand side, B girls on the right hand side, and we have some number of edges. So we want, like, these edges represent that the ith boy on the left hand side can go to the dance with the jth girl on the right hand side, and we want to find the number of ways to select two pairs of two couples who can go to the dance. How many ways can we select them? So what I did for this is basically I iterated over the edge. Like we have k edges in the input, right? So I iterated over one of the edges, and then I tried to find how many other edges satisfy this requirement. So the only issue that would arise from taking the ith edge is that I cannot take the ith person I cannot take the ith boy on the left hand side, or I cannot take the bith girl on the right hand side, right? So what I did was I removed the edges, like for all of the edges that are connected to the ith boy on the left hand side, if I remove all of those edges, and similarly for the bith girl on the right hand side, if I remove all of her edges, then the remaining edges would be the valid number of edges that I can take for this particular edge. So let me show what I mean through my program. Yeah, so what I did was I have these are the edges like ai, bi, I have taken it as ui, vi. So for easy like renumbering, I have labeled all of the boys from 1 to ai and all of the girls from ai plus 1 to bi plus to b plus a plus b, right? Yeah, so a plus b, because we have total a plus b vertices. So all of the boys are numbered from 1 to a, all of the girls are numbered from a plus 1 to a plus b. And for all the edges in the input, this constructing the graph is not required, just having a size would be more than sufficient. So like let me modify this to make it O of n complexity. So what I'm saying is I can just store the sizes. So basically I would have size of u of I plus plus. I need to mem set size to 0. Yeah, so I have size of u of I plus plus, I have size of v of I plus a plus plus, and over here I have basically size of L, I have size of R. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I iterate over the ith edge. The left hand point is u of I, the right hand point is v of I plus a. And so how many edges do I have remaining? So let me construct some graph. I have 1, 2, 3 boy over here. I have 4, 5, 6 girl over here. So consider this graph. So I have, for simplicity, I'm taking something like this. So I also construct an edge between 3 to 5. So yeah, and let's say I have 1 to 4. Yes, what I'm trying to do is, suppose I fix that I'm taking this edge. So what I want to do is, I want to remove this edge from consideration, because I have paired 2 and 5, I cannot pair 5 with any other boy, right? So once I fix this edge, I have k minus 1 remaining edges. Out of those, I want to subtract any edge that is connected to 2. So I subtract size of 2, which is in this case 1, because this is the edge that I cannot take this edge, I'm only considering that. So I'll add 2 at the very end, because this edge will be subtracted twice. Similarly, for size of r, I cannot take any edge that is connected to 5, so I remove these 2 edges. So now I have k minus 1, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 edges. So I have, 1 second, 4 minus 1 minus 2. And because I subtracted this edge twice, but I have already considered that I cannot take this edge, I add 2. So basically, the answer is 3. So with, no, 1 second, what? 4 minus 1 minus 2. Okay, so I'm sorry, this is not 4, right? This is k minus 1, so this is 3. Yeah, so this is 2, which is valid, because after I take this edge, I can remove 2 and 5 from the graph, I can remove this edge, and I can take either of these edges. So that gives me the number of valid pairings. So I do this for every edge, and because every edge has been counted twice. So, like suppose I'm considering 2 to 5, and I pair it with 1 to 4. But when I was at 1 to 4, I also counted 2 to 5, right? So basically, since a particular edge can be the left edge or the right edge, I'm counting it twice, so I divide the answer by 2, and that gives me the answer for the question. Do we have an announcement? Yeah, so basically the contest is unrated. Yeah, so problem D. Let me see if my solutions are judged. Okay, I got wrong answer on test 2 in problem D. So I'll debug that before explaining the solution. D was a like kind of a bad implementation problem. So let's see. Basically, in problem D, we want to free up m units of space by removing the minimum number of convenience points. So what did I do wrong? I have n up to 2e5 plus 5. I've cleared the global arrays. If total sum is less than m, I continue, which is fine. Otherwise, I sort both of the arrays independently. I take prefix sums over both the arrays, and then I apply a sort of 2 pointers. So basically, I'll consider that I'm removing all of the elements from the second array, right? And from the first array, I'll fix that I'm removing I elements. So initially I'm losing all of the points corresponding to the second, like all of the bi equal to 2 as I'm removing. I have current sum equal to 0. So y if I is greater than equal to 1, then current sum is equal to g of 1 I minus 1, okay? And lose plus plus. Yes, because I'll be losing 1 extra point for every subsequent element that I remove. And for every element that I save on the right hand side, I am gaining 2 points. Okay. So if g of 2 idx plus current sum is greater than equal to m, so in this case answer would be maximum of answer comma sum minus lose. Okay, did I remove long? No, I did not. So answer equal to max of answer comma sum minus lose if I is greater than equal to 1 and g of 1 I minus 1 is greater than equal to m. Okay, let me try to enter some test cases. So suppose I have 5 elements and I want to 4 elements and I want to free 10 units of space. The AI values are 1, 2, 3, 4 and the BI values are 1, 1, 1, 1. Wait, what? That is the correct input format, right? Why am I getting RT? It's not over here. Not even over here. Okay. What is the value of index? -1. Okay, shit. If index is greater than equal to 0 and yeah. Similarly, let me enter 2, 2, 2, 2. I think that is the reason I got the wrong answer. So I'll submit it and then I'll explain my approach. I think, yeah, 1 second. Okay, so I think they should be correct. So I'll explain it. Yes, what I'm doing is basically I can treat all of the BI equal to 1 applications separately and I can treat all of the BI equal to 2 important applications separately, right? So basically I make 2 vectors. One is for one corresponding to the regular applications and the other corresponding to the important applications. Now, when I'm removing some particular type of application, that like suppose I'm removing some regular application, then obviously I would want to remove the one that has the maximum AI value, right? If I'm removing 3 regular applications, they will be the ones that have the 3 maximum AI values corresponding to BI equal to 1 and so on. So that is exactly what I did. So I have a vector which is I'm using g of 1 and g of 2, and for every I push for every application, I push it into its respective vector. So g of b of I dot pushback a of I. The edge case is that if I cannot free up m units of space, basically summation of all of the elements is less than m, I can directly print -1. Otherwise, what I do is I reverse sort g of 1 and g of 2. So basically, I have the largest AI at the top for bi equal to 1 and so on. And I take a prefix sum over both the vectors. So like, let me consider this input. So basically, for the regular applications, I have 4, 3, 2 sorted in reverse order, and for the important applications, I have 5, 1. So these are the important applications and these are the regular applications. Now what I'm doing is, first I'll consider that I'm removing all of the important applications and I'll start at the left end point. Like I'll fix how many I'm removing ith regular. I'll fix that I'm removing I regular applications. So as I'm removing more of the regular applications, I'll need to remove lesser number of important applications. So basically I'm using some sort of a 2-pointer approach. Basically I'm maintaining a pointer to the end of this array. So initially it points over here. I have a pointer over here and like I have a pointer on 1 basically. So basically initially I have 6, I'm removing all of the important applications and I'm not removing any regular application, which would give me 6 total free space, which is not valid. Now I'll remove the first free application, first regular application. So that would allow me to basically not have to remove this important application, right? So basically what I'm doing is I'll try to check if removing up to this point, like previous pointer, if removing up to there basically gives me the required amount of free space. So what would be the required amount of free space? So I have the prefix sum. So this is 4, 7 and 9 and this is 5, 6. So I just want to check that g of 1 I minus 1, which is, since I'm moving I equal to 1 application now. So I equal to 1 corresponds to g of 1 0, which is 4, plus I want to check that if this like 4 plus 5 is greater than equal to 9. So I can move this pointer over here. So basically I keep on doing this, like I keep on doing this iteratively, and then I find what is the maximum value, like what is the maximum convenience points I can have at the very end, and that would be nothing but the total convenient, like the number, the convenience points that I lose is nothing but the total sum minus the whatever I have retained, right? So that is what I did for the problem B. I think going through my implementation should make it easier to understand. Since it's mostly an implementation question, I don't think there's much logic behind the problem. So now problem E. Problem E was that basically we want to sign a contract with K bloggers, and we also have the AI values corresponding to each of the blogger. So basically we want to remove the K largest values, and we want to find what is the number of ways to do that. So again, this was a very simple implementation question. Obviously we would always remove the K largest values, but if the kth largest value, right, like suppose I have in this test case, one second, so I have 1 1 2 3 in the second test case. If I sort the AI values and I want to remove 3 elements, so I remove 3, I remove 2, but for removing 1, like the kth largest element, how many times does it occur? The third largest element occurs 2 times, right? So basically I need to take these 2 values, so my K value reduces to 1, and among the remaining values I can take any one. So basically the answer would be 2C1. Like from these 2 elements I can choose any one element. So let me extend this test case. So suppose I had 0, like rather 1 2 2 2 3 4, and I wanted to remove K equal to 4. So what I'm saying is I'll see how many 4s occur. So 4 occurs 1 time, and my K value is greater than equal to that. So I can remove 4, I can reduce K. Now the largest value occurs only 1 time, and my K value is still greater. So basically I need to take this element definitely. But now the largest element is 2 and it occurs 3 times, and out of those I only need to remove 2 of them. So basically the answer would be 3 choose 2, which is 3. In 3 ways I can choose 2 elements, which is these two, and the first and the last corresponding to the 2's. So the answer is 3 choose 2. So yeah, that is what I did. I sorted the input array. I iterated from behind. So first of all, I found how many times does the current element occur. So that I did that using like another pointer. So I initialized j to I. Then while j minus 1 was greater than equal to 1 and the element was same, I kept decreasing the pointer. So that, like, I minus j plus 1 would give me the length of the current element, how many times it occurs. And if k is greater than equal to that value, then I can directly subtract it like I showed you. So like in this case, if like 3 occurs only once and k occurs thrice, so I can directly remove this element. I need to take it, and there is only one way to do so. Otherwise, if I have more elements than I have k, then in that case the answer would be like NCR of I minus j plus 1 choose k, and then I can break out of the loop. So I make k equal to 0, and if k is 0, I break out of the loop. That's all that was there in the question. Then we have problem F. Let me see if my solutions are judging. Okay, so I got AC on F. My G is also running. I think it should AC. Let's see. So for problem F, yeah, problem F, I'm pretty sure that there should be an easier solution than mine, but I just implemented whatever came to my mind first. So for the problem is that basically we can XOR any row with 1 or any column with 1. And one thing to, like, the first key observation is that if you XOR some row twice, basically you're not making any change, right? Because you're XORing Aij with 1 and then again XORing it with 1, because XOR X is 0, you basically negated the change. So basically we will only XOR a particular row at most once. So basically we XOR every row and every column either 0 times or 1 time. And now the second thing to realize is if I compare Aij to Bij, right? So like suppose I have this input and I see A11 is 1 and B11 is 0. Then that means that one of the row or the column was flipped. Like it is not possible that neither of the rows flipped, or neither of, like, let me consider the first row and the first column. if I did not apply any operation on both of them, or if I applied an operation on both of them, then the final value would have been 1. So it is obvious that either the row has flipped or the column has flipped, and this basically leads to a two-side condition. So basically two satisfiability is where you construct a graph. So let me consider the graph corresponding to all of the rows and all of the columns. So what I'm saying is, like, basically for every row we have two states. We either flip that row or we don't flip that row, and similarly for every column we have two possibilities. We either flip that column or we don't flip that column. So if I consider these 4n nodes in the graph, then every condition will give me 4 edges. So consider this test case where, like, this particular element where I have 1 and 0. So basically this means that if row 1 is not flipped, then column 1 must be flipped. That is one condition. And similarly you can get all of the other conditions. So like if you see my code, I have, like, I'm adding edges. I have 2 edges corresponding to every row and every column, and if the element is changed, then we have 4 edges. That if row is not changed, then column must be changed. Similarly, if row is changed, then column must not be changed, and so on. And in this graph we basically need to check that there is no cycle. So like, I think you can read about two satisfiability and then it becomes a very straightforward question. That was my method to solve the question. And the last problem, did I get AC? Yeah, I got AC on the last problem. What is my rank? I think I screwed up on D, like I got the wrong answer, and because of the Q I got the verdict very late. But yeah, so for problem F we have that we want to remove the minimum number of elements such that in the final array for every pair of element I comma j, either ai divides aj or vice versa. So for that, the key, like, removing minimum number of elements is as good as retaining or keeping the maximum number of elements of the original array. And obviously the order of the elements does not matter, so we can sort the array. And now what we can realize is that if we, like, let's forget about the elements repeating. If the elements did not repeat, like if we consider all of the repeated elements as one element, so in this case if we have 2 to 8, if I consider only the 2 8, I construct a set out of the final array, then in that set there can be at most log n elements, right? Because like every time if I'm going from a, like if I have, one second, let me copy paste this code. Yeah, suppose I have ai less than aj less than ak, then I have ai divides aj, I have aj divides ak. So because aj is less than ai, aj has to be greater than equal to 2 times ai, because 2 is the minimum factor. Like you cannot, like we need to at least multiply 2 to get aj, right? Similarly, ak is greater than equal to 2 times aj, and so on. Like that was one of the realizations that I came across. And the second realization is, if we start from ak, right, like if we start from the largest element in the array, what we can do is we can divide that element and go to one of its divisors, and we can add, like if we're keeping some element, we can obviously keep all of its occurrences. If I have some element 5 in my final array, then I can have all of the remaining 5s also, because all the 5s divide each other. And obviously if the condition is satisfied for 1 5, like there exists some some element in the array that is either divisible by 5 or divides 5, then obviously it will also be true for all of the remaining 5s, right? So let's forget about the frequencies. Like we can directly maintain the frequency of the initial input elements, and we can basically have a dp. So basically I start from the largest value that I want to keep in the array, which is dp of value. So I'm saying that value is the largest element that I have. So I can add all of its frequencies and I can go to one of its divisors, and I want to find the maximum over all of the possibilities. So I have frequency of value plus dp of value divided by it. And like this is for finding, like for going to all of the divisors, instead of having a C where I store all of the divisors, I have just stored the prime divisors for every number. So I pre-computed, like I have a pre-computation, C-type pre-computation, where for every number I store which are the prime factors that divide this number. So I go from 2 to n. If primes of phi dot size is 0, which means that this number is a prime, I go to all of its multiples, including itself, and I push back I into the primes of I. So after this pre-computation, 4 would store, for example, 4 would be storing 2, 12 would be storing 2 and 3, because 2 divides 12, 3 divides 12, and 2 and 3 are the prime factors of 12. So I can directly just go to those divisors, and the reason that this works is, suppose I have an input where I have 4, and suppose 36. So from 36 I'll be going to 12, and 12 would lead me to 4 eventually. And similarly, if I, like, this is when I divide 36 by 3. Let's say that I want to divide 36 by 2. If I divide 36 by 2, I get to 18, right? But in this case, I won't end up reaching 4, because 18, 4 does not divide 18, right? So this would be an invalid path. But I don't need to directly go to 4, because the eventual path would lead me there, because I am removing one prime factor at a time. So if you consider the prime factorization, we have 4 is equal to 2 squared. I have 36 is equal to 2 squared into 3 squared. So if I remove 3 twice, then I would end up reaching this value. So instead of just going over all of the divisors, I just divide one prime at a time, and I find the path that gives me the maximum frequency values. So this dB gives me the maximum values I can keep in the final array, and then the answer would obviously be n minus answer, because all of those elements I would need to remove from the array. Anyway, I hope that this video was informative and you understood my approaches. Problem D is also judged, so this is my final rank. I got a 30-minute penalty, like a wrong answer, and a 40-minute penalty rather, because I submitted, like, I got a 10-minute penalty for wrong answer, and I submitted 30 minutes late because of the long queue, because of the indexing. So I had negative indexing in my code. But yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you.